Welcome to screencast number 1 for Unit 9, Lesson 2. I'm on page 512, and we're going to look at ecology of terrestrial ecosystems. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe the ecological relationships that occur in a terrestrial ecosystem. I'm now on page 514. What are the characteristics of a terrestrial ecosystem? A terrestrial ecosystem is an ecosystem on land. Okay, terra is, I think it's Latin, for earth or ground, land, whatever. Okay, so if you hear terrestrial, it refers to something that's on the earth, on the ground, on the land. Okay, what abiotic factors affect terrestrial ecosystems? Well, soil type, temperature, amount of water, amount of sunlight, those are all abiotic factors which would affect terrestrial ecosystems. Those probably aren't all, but those are a few of the more obvious ones. Okay? Look at page 515. What is a biome? A biome is a major regional or global community of organisms. A biome is much larger than an ecosystem, and many different ecosystems can be found in any biome. Biomes are characterized by their climate conditions and their plant communities. Each biome has a distinct set of climate conditions, and these include a typical temperature range as well as a typical amount of precipitation. Climate affects the plant communities that can live in the biome. For example, a tropical rainforest biome has a warm, moist climate. The climate can support many layers of plants, such as orchids, banana trees, rubber trees, etc. Latitude is one factor that affects climate. Latitude is the distance of a place north or south of the Earth's equator. Okay? Areas at lower latitudes, meaning further away from the equator, areas at lower latitudes close to zero, get more sunlight and have warmer temperatures than areas at higher latitudes, like 50 degrees, 60 degrees north or south. Similar climate conditions explain why certain biomes are found at similar latitudes around the world. Okay, so I'm going to pause this so we can look at the map that's at the bottom of page 515 because I have some questions for you. All right, number 7 says, use the map to find the biome that you live in. Well, we're in Central Texas, and we are kind of on the edge, close to being in a temperate grassland, temperate deciduous forest. I mean, if you go to East Texas, you know it's a forest area. You've got pine trees and stuff everywhere. But if you go west, particularly west of I-35 out into the hill country, you know that is a grassland area. Okay, and if you keep going, you're out in the desert. So how would I answer number 7? Because Texas is really small on this map. I would say either temperate grassland or temperate deciduous forest, depending on exactly where you're looking. Okay, but if you take a look at the map, let's look at it and see if we can figure out a few other questions. Name the 2 most common biomes that are found along the equator, for instance. Okay, the equator is 0 degrees latitude. I hit this kind of peach color, the dark green, a teeny weeny bit of the light green, some more dark green, some more of the peach color, some more dark green. Okay, the dark green are areas that are tropical rainforests. That's one of our biomes. The peach color, those are tropical grasslands. And then there was a little teeny weeny bit of temperate deciduous forest in there. But for the most part, the 2 most common biomes that you find at the equator are the ones that are tropical grassland and tropical rainforests. Okay, what 3 biomes make up most of the continental United States? Well, we just looked at that to answer number 7. So the continental United States is the lower 48 states. It doesn't count Alaska and it doesn't count Hawaii. What are the 3 biomes that you see occupy most of the continental United States? Well, you've got the red, which is temperate grassland. You've got the light green, which is temperate deciduous forest. Deciduous means that it's trees that will lose their leaves in the winter. Okay. Temperate deciduous forest, temperate grassland, and then the kind of yellow-orange is desert. And that makes sense because like New Mexico and Arizona and stuff are over here. Okay, so those are the three major biomes that you'll see in the continental United States. Well, what about Alaska? What biomes make up most of Alaska? Alaska is up here, and you see the light purple and the darker purple. And that is tundra and taiga. So I have to look up how to pronounce that. But anyway, these two, this is basically your cold forest, about as cold a forest as you can have, and then your tundra, which is a really cold, dry area as well. All right, I'm now on page 516, and we're going to talk about the major biomes. First of all, Earth has 8 major biomes, and they are tundra, desert, tropical grassland, temperate grassland, taiga, temperate deciduous forest, temperate rainforest, and tropical rainforest. Each biome has a distinct climate, and the types of plants and animal species that can live in that biome depend on its climate. So let's look at tundra first. Okay, so tundra is biome number 1 on our list. Tundra is cold and dry. Tundra typically has soil that is permanently frozen, so it has a layer of permafrost. And tundra plants and animals have adaptations for cold conditions. Biome number 2 is desert. The desert biome is your driest biome. Desert temperatures can reach 40 or 50 degrees Celsius during the day. That's well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But at night, they can drop to as low as 0 degrees Celsius, which is the temperature that water freezes at. Desert soil is dry with very few nutrients. Desert plants have to have special adaptations to deal with the dry conditions. Okay. Many of your desert animals sleep during the day in burrows, and they are active at night when it's a little bit cooler. Okay. So biome number 1, tundra, and these are in no particular order. It's just the order that the book put them in. But anyway, number 1 on our list was tundra. Number 2 on our list was desert. And then let's go to the other page for 3 through 8. 3 and 4 are both grassland biomes. Okay, grasses dominate grassland biomes. That's kind of a duh. Frequent fires prevent most trees from growing in grasslands. Prairies and steppes are temperate grasslands, and savannas are tropical grasslands. Okay, tropical grasslands are warmer and may have more precipitation than temperate grasslands. Temperature in temperate grasslands can fall to about 0 degrees during the winter. Hoofed animals that eat grasses are very common in your grassland biomes. Taiga is going to be biome number 5, or boreal forest, is your northernmost forest biome. It's basically the northernmost or southernmost, but really northernmost is where you're going to have most of your taiga. It's going to have long, cold winters and relatively short summers. Taiga soils can stay frozen all year round, meaning that they're permafrost. Okay, but then there are some other forest biomes. Tropical rainforests, temperate rainforests, and temperate deciduous forests are other forest biomes. Tropical rainforests have warm, wet climates all year round, and you're going to find those close to the equator, where there's warm temperatures and plenty of rainfall. Temperate rainforests have wet climates, but seasonal temperature changes. They're not always warm. Temperate deciduous forests have seasonal temperature changes and less precipitation than either type of rainforest. Okay, so your 8 major biomes: tundra, desert, tropical grasslands, temperate grasslands, taiga, temperate rainforests, tropical rainforests, and temperate deciduous forests. And if you want to kind of know where they're located, refer back to the map on page 515, right here. Okay. All right, so now I'm on page 518 and 519. I'm going to spend most of my time talking about the food web on page 519. Okay. So we're going to look at a particular food web for one specific particular ecosystem, a terrestrial ecosystem. The organisms that we see in the food web are listed in the chart. Mesquite, that's the tree right here. Pronghorn sheep, ear tick, coyote, grasshopper, kangaroo rat, great horned owl. Okay. So once again, we've got a food web showing the various feeding relationships in this particular food web. Well, I've also pointed out, for instance, that the mesquite is a producer. I've also checked that box or put an X in it. The pronghorn is a consumer. Specifically, it's a consumer that eats only plants, so it's a herbivore. Notice it says here, overlapping circles show a parasitic relationship. This circle overlaps this circle with the pronghorn. The ear tick is a parasite that'll latch on to the pronghorn and suck its blood. Yum, yum. So the ear tick is a parasite. So it is both a consumer because it does not make its own food. It's a consumer. It's also a parasite. The pronghorn is a consumer, meaning it just doesn't make its own food. But it's also a host. Why? Because it's hosting the lovely ear tick parasite. Okay? Pronghorn is also prey because you notice that somebody else comes along and eats the pronghorn, and that's the coyote. Okay? Your coyote, according to the food web, is only eating animal flesh. So that means that the coyote is a carnivore. Okay? It's a consumer, meaning it has to eat something to obtain its energy, eat another organism. And the type of organism that the coyote eats is other animals, so that makes it a carnivore. Okay? It's a predator because it kills and eats other animals. The grasshopper is a consumer. What type? It's a herbivore because it's only eating plant material. The kangaroo rat is only eating the mesquite, so it's a herbivore also. It's also prey because you notice that some of your kangaroo rats are going to wind up getting eaten by the coyote or the great horned owl. So the kangaroo rat would also be prey. The great horned owl, right here, is a consumer. What kind? It's a carnivore because it's eating meat, animal flesh. And it's a predator because it is killing and eating other animals. Okay? Remember that your arrows point to where the energy is going. The energy from the mesquite tree is being transferred to the grasshopper when the grasshopper eats the mesquite tree. Okay, the mesquite's energy is being transferred to the kangaroo rat when the kangaroo rat eats the mesquite tree, etc. Okay? The coyote is getting energy from the kangaroo rat. The coyote is getting energy from the pronghorn sheep. The ear tick, even though it's a parasite, it's also getting energy transferred from the pronghorn. Okay? That's how it's getting its nutrients. Okay, so just remember, anytime you see a food web, the arrows are pointing to the eater. Okay? All right, and to wrap up Lesson 2, I have some notes that I added on the back. Remember, I couldn't use the front because it had the Unit 1 notes still. But on the back of the Lesson 2, I put the Lesson 2 notes about terrestrial ecosystems. What's a biome? It's a major regional or global community of organisms. And biomes are characterized by their climate and their plant communities. There are 8 major biomes: tundra, desert, temperate grasslands, tropical grasslands, taiga, tropical rainforests, temperate rainforests, and temperate deciduous forests. Okay, scoot that up just a tad. All right, make sure you record this because recording this, writing it down plus listening carefully to the screencast will make answering the questions later much easier.